you can see it. You can see hesitation. You can sense pressure. All of these things, you can tell if an artist is comfortable with a material based on a turn of a mark or a stop of a point because of the way their body feels, right? And it comes from years of watching people draw and work on their stuff. It comes from years of looking at stuff. And so that's how you can go to it and say, we may not need this mark because you can tell that it was one used to find something, not something that's important. And so the works on paper collectors get the feeling of all that, of all those decisions to be made, things that aren't perfect. And it's all that stuff that makes it so unique and such an honest expression of the artist. That's why it's so important. And I think, the print crowd, they're like, well, we get to support more artists because it's less expensive. And, like David Kreut's a prime example. I was interviewing him for a conversation at the Johannesburg Art Fair a number of years ago. I asked him, why he got into print publishing versus doing something else, with his expertise and his finances. And he said, I can do more for more artists working in print than I could if I bought paintings. He goes, because if I buy 2 or 3 paintings or sculptures from this artist, he goes, that's a lot of resources, financial resources used up in one instant. Versus if I take those resources and I work with them to produce prints, I can support them over their entire career for that same amount. And I get to be a part of that and I get to help that. And then there's money that feeds back in to then help other artists. And when you look at his relationship with William Kentridge, all of that effort over all those years has meant all these other South African artists have been able to be published. So that initial seed money that could have just bought 2 or 3 works actually created the last 40 years of publishing, right? So some people get into it for that because they can spread their limited resources further and help more artists. Other people get into it because it's way easier to store prints than anything else. Well, let's be honest. Otherwise, you got to have a warehouse versus a couple of flat files.